I can't believe school starts again. I haven't done my homework last night.
Hey Beavis, who the hell's the new kid here in school?
Just ignore him, butthead. He's probably got autism or something.
Yo, what's up? We be poppin' the streets. Got your girl in my lane, she...
Man, get your silly crack asses out of here, man. We are here because we want Jay McNeil to give us answers on where Nick Fuentes is. I also want to ask Jay McNeil, how come Nick Fuentes went to my house and he didn't offer me any fried chicken? And I also want to know if Macron's wife is packing down there, because I know my husband ain't packing down there. Whee! What the f***? That's my wig. Give it back to me, you son of a bitch. I just want to know if we could borrow one of your students named Jay McNeil to go track and find this Nicholas J. Fuentes. And also, we can use the kid for AI, even though he does have special needs. You motherfucking vanilla crackers, you better get your pink little dick asses out of my classroom, because I'm trying to teach students about geology, geometry, and geography. What do you want from me? I did nothing wrong! Well, hello there, Jay McNeil. We want something from you. I just want to go home and stroke my you gay black vagina. Well, Jay McNeil, if you're not going to give us the location where Nick Fuentes is, we are going to expose you in front of my 224 million followers on X that you try to kiss Nick Fuentes at a movie theater. No, okay, I'll tell you. Now all we need to do is get inside our house and find Nicholas J. Fuentes. Alright, I think this is the location, fellas. Let's see if Nick Fuentes is here or not. Psh. Hello, is anybody home?
Oh yeah, it's me, Marf.
My ass! Hello everybody, it is your boy WutEpGuyz, aka the best animator in the world. No, I'm joking, I'm not really the best animator in the world. But if you guys do enjoy that animation, make sure you slap a comment if you guys want me to continue with animating stuff like that. And also, if you guys want more videos like this, let me know in the comments below. But since I've ever projects in the making, I will be posting them pretty soon on my channel. Anyways, let's get right back to the video. So I want to talk about the drama between Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson. Now, before I do, I know you guys are going to jump in the comment section. You guys are going to go, oh, why would you bring up this evil, hateful person named Nicholas J. Fuentes? Guys, let me just say this. Nick Fuentes, he's not hateful at all. He's certainly not an evil person. I've watched this show. Trust me, guys. If you watch America First with Nick Fuentes, you're expect the opposite from him, you know, despite, you know, the ADL, the SPLC, all these left-wing organizations that are run by this group of people with this whole drama. It's very vital to American politics, because if you guys don't know, there are these like fake conservatives out there, you know, like the obvious ones like Charlie Kirk, Ben Shapiro. I mean, I get Ben Shapiro is like, you know, a self-evident neocon, and Charlie Kirk is like this moderate conservative, but at the same time he like flip-flops his positions on certain things, depending on whether he's trying to appeal to his donors or his fan base. It doesn't really matter. We all know he's trying to flip-flop to appeal either or. But the thing with some of these other conservatives, I don't know if I would, you know, you guys can say they're conservative or dissident right, but you have people like Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, I guess you could love Matt Walsh with all these people. I don't know if that's 100% accurate. But you have these like dissident right-wing types that are like in favor of moratorium on immigration. They're in favor of protectionism. They're in favor of no wars as long as they don't benefit, you know, countries like Israel. It's like, okay, so they have all these same positions as us, but what are their personal connections? Are they part of the CIA? Are they part of the FBI? Are they trying to appeal a certain demographic just so that they can take advantage of that certain demographic? They can like fool that demographic to vote for like fake Republicans which I'll get into in a minute. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, I mean, people are raising like these very good questions. And here's my position on all this. It's like, you know, Nick Fuentes, I mean, in my opinion, I think he's like a very authentic right-winger. You know, we've seen the evidence, right? I mean, he's been debanked. He's been censored by all fronts. And I get now he can fly on an airplane, and supposedly he has access to his bank account and, you know, all that good stuff. But before, it's like he didn't have access to anything. And the reason why is because, you know, he went hard on the demographic issue, mainly whites being replaced, or the whole Jewish question thing. And obviously, if you have mentioned these two topics like right around 2020 or even before 2020, I mean, you're gonna get absolutely canceled. And I remember when I was in college, I tried my best to not mention anything. I mean, I was political back then, even in high school, but I tried my best to not bring up those topics because I understood back in my heyday, I'm not claiming to be like unk status, but these were like very sensitive and taboo topics.
Now to get back into the Tucker Carlson versus Nick Fuentes drama, we have to go over to the very beginning when Nick Fuentes was asking questions about, you know, Tucker Carlson's father being part of the CIA, and, you know, oh, Tucker Carlson's like this propagandist who was trying to mediate between, you know, Trump supporters and Donald Trump himself. Well, actually, during this period, there was an article that was written by the Gray Zone. Now, if you guys don't know what it is basically a website with Max Blumenthal. Now, Max Blumenthal, who is this Jewish guy, his father used to work under Bill Clinton. He was one of his advisors in terms of foreign policy, basically. And this guy wrote a book called The Clinton Wars, which he goes over the entire history of, you know, him advising Bill Clinton. But anyway, so to get back to this article, there is this hashtag FedFuentes. Now, this article was written by Influenceable. If you guys don't know what Influenceable is basically affiliate marketing program, which they sell products or, you know, services to young people, specifically my generation, the Gen Z generation. They have ties with this whole conservative atmosphere with, you know, TPUSA and all these other organizations. Anyway, so Max Blumenthal was pushing this article in the Gray Zone. As you can see right here, campaign execution. And so basically they give orders to anybody that works for these conservative organizations. Now, by the way, I want you guys to keep in mind, Max Blumenthal is not a conservative. He is a leftist who is against the war in Gaza, okay? It's just ever this right-wingers have ties with him. Well, this guy, apparently they listen to him over Nick Fuentes, who seems to know a lot more about foreign policy and geopolitics. So even though they agree on everything, why the hell would it go after Nick Fuentes? Well, according to this guy, apparently Nick Fuentes is a federal asset and control opposition. Now, I'm going to show you this screenshot that Nick Fuentes has shown right here. Yes, apparently, according to one of his lawyers, he has said and made it very clear to one of the jurors in the court case that Nick Fuentes has no ties with federal informants. He has no ties to just law enforcement in general. If anything, Nick Fuentes, you know, got charged recently by allegedly pepper spraying some woman who was, you know, harassing him basically outside of his house. And this is not the only situation, which I'll get into it eventually. But to get back into this article, so they're pushing this false narrative that he is a federal asset. And you know what's even better, actually? After Nick Fuentes basically exposed this entire lie that he is a federal asset, well, apparently you have people like Milo Yiannopoulos, Jay McNeil, and all these other types. We'll get into Jay McNeil and Milo in a second. But those two people, basically, they've kind of moved away from calling him a federal asset, and now they're like, okay, you know what, this guy's a flaming homosexual because he made some joke. I don't even want to get into the jokes, but basically they went from calling him a federal asset to now calling him a homosexual to make him look optically bad. And what's even funny is that they do this, now there's this logical fallacy, you guys can look it up, but it's called WutEpGuyz. Basically, they're trying to point out the hypocrisy that, oh, well, Brandon Straka got he got arrested for like no apparent reason. He didn't like break any laws or whatever. But this Nick Fuentes guy, according to Jay McNeil, Nick Fuentes told his followers to break down the barriers and disregard police on January 6th. Now, if you guys watch this live stream right here, Nick Fuentes perfectly explained the whole situation.
Now, let me tell you what happened to me on January 6th. Now, I did not plan to go to the Capitol building. I had plans all throughout that day. I was going to do an interview with Alex Jones that night. I was going to have dinner with a couple of friends of mine at an Italian restaurant. I had plans all throughout the night on January 6th. I had no plans of even being at the Capitol building. But I was behind Alex Jones when the speech happened, and somebody came up and said, Alex Jones is going to lead the march with President Trump to the Capitol. Trump himself said, we are going to march peacefully and make our voices heard at the Capitol. So I thought everybody was going. So I walked with the crowd to the Capitol. I took a bunch of pictures with my friends, and then somebody said, you got to give a speech. Because I gave speeches at all the other events. I went to Lansing, Atlanta, Harrisburg, Phoenix. I went to the Million MAGA marches, of which there were 2. And I gave these big speeches at all of them. I gave speeches at the U.S. Capitol, the state capitals, the governor's mansions. And so somebody said, you got to give a speech. I said, yeah, all right. Can someone find me a megaphone? And somebody goes on it. They ran, they grabbed a megaphone. I jumped up, and I'll show you where I was. I'll show you precisely where I was. This is important evidence. We're getting into the nitty-gritty here. I said, all right, now this is where I was. Take a look at where I am. You can see very clearly where I was on the Capitol complex. This is me with the megaphone right here. That's Vince. That's my friend, former friend. Now, to soak in where I am, look at this location in context of where the Capitol building is. Now, if you look and pay attention, on the Capitol complex, I was right here at the, I think it's called the Circle of Peace. I was right here giving that speech. And if you look it up, the Peace Circle. This is the Peace Circle. That is the statue where I gave the speech. Now, look at the picture here. Okay, you can see this is the Peace Circle. This is the video. That is the statue where I was. It's the same statue. Now, if you look at a map, it is 500 feet from the Capitol building. 500 feet from where the building actually is. Now, everybody that got arrested, either 2 or 3 things were true about them. There were close to 2,000 people that got charged on January 6th, and 1 of 3 things was true about all of them. They were either charged with trespassing because they were on restricted grounds. They were charged with some form of violence or vandalism because of an altercation with media or police, or they broke something. Or third, they were involved in a militia. Out of 2,000 defendants, 1 of those things is true about all of them. This is the yellow line is where the barricades were. I was not on restricted grounds. These are the restricted grounds. I was not on them. I was 500 feet from the building.
Okay, so now that we know that Nick Fuentes is not a Fed or neither is he part of the CIA, unlike people like Joe Kent, who we'll get into eventually. Now, why the hell would people bring up these rumors? Why the hell would people bring up Nick Fuentes and this whole January 6th thing? Well, I mean, people could argue, well, he is mentioning very controversial views, unlike, people like Tucker Carlson who wants to push this colorblind meritocracy, and people like John Doyle and Jake McNeil, even though they may be more racist compared to Tucker Carlson, they'll still be like, yeah, Tucker Carlson's the best, he's like a true conservative and all that other stuff, which is retarded. The main reason why they're pushing that Nick Fuentes is a Fed thing. Now, so apparently Nick Fuentes used to promote this guy named Joe Kent. Joe Kent was running for Congress in Ohio. He just found out that Joe Kent was part of the CIA and that he wrote a tweet about him basically supporting Israel and that he wants to push away from race realism and all that stuff. And religion too, by the way. I'm not kidding. This is a real tweet right here. Not Photoshopped. There's no inspect elements. Real tweet. You can look up on Nick Fuentes' Twitter. Basically, these people are controlled opposition. People like Tucker Carlson, people like Candace Owens, they'll promote somebody like this guy. Now, I know Nick Fuentes used to promote this guy, but he quickly found out that Joe Kent is, clearly a psyop. And this is what happens, by the way. This is why conservatism tends to fail, because you have people like Joe Kent and all these people. Same with J.D. Vance, who is married to an Indian woman, by the way. You have these people pushing white identity politics, moratorium on immigration. But in all actuality, they're not pushing for anything. I mean, not only they're race mixers, but also they're not actually truly authentically conservative or white nationalists or whatever. Okay, they're not any of these types. And you have Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson. They're like, oh, why are you attacking these people? They agree with us. And it's like, well, Tucker Carlson, we know that your father used to work for Voice of America, part of CIA, and people are still going to ask, well, why is this relevant? Well, guys, it's relevant because Tucker Carlson would not be in the position that he is to this day without his father having, connections to the deep state. That's just an actual fact. So Tucker Carlson did an interview with Candace Owens, and he basically mentions in this interview that
he had no knowledge of his father being part of CIA, and if anything, he got that knowledge, according to him, from Nick Fuentes. And before he actually said that, not only he knew his father was part of the CIA, but he wanted to join the CIA. If anything, if you take a look at Tucker Carlson's Wikipedia, it does mention that he tried to apply for the CIA, but unfortunately for him, he couldn't not only graduate college, but he actually instead studied in journalism. So that's how he was able to get into broadcasting and all of that. Alright, so to get Tucker Carlson out of the way, I want to talk about this guy named Milo Yiannopoulos. If you guys don't know, this guy was notorious for being this homosexual conservative back in like 2017, 2018. At the time, this guy was actually at Charlottesville when he was with Richard Spencer and all those other guys. And if you guys are not aware, apparently Richard Spencer had an audio recording leaked 2 years later after this whole Unite the Right movement completely failed. And apparently Milo was recording, you know, behind the scenes without his knowledge. So, by the way, this isn't the first time Milo Yiannopoulos has done this. If you take a look at this video right here, Milo has files on top of files of every right-winger that he has ever come across. And not only that, but he actually hired stalkers to go stalk Nick Fuentes' house. This Elon Musk guy, apparently he wants to jump into the fray by claiming that, oh, well, it doesn't make sense that the FBI would leave Nick Fuentes alone, unless if he is an informant of some kind. And it's like, okay, first of all, Elon Musk, you have allowed every single left-wing sociopath, like, leak Nick Fuentes' docs and location. And by the way, he has received probably hundreds, if not millions, of threats. And yet Elon Musk has not taken action. Here's the thing, just because something is public, Elon Musk, doesn't mean you have a God-given right to spread it. Because if his location gets spread, eventually he's going to get killed. Oh, and speaking of assassination attempts, you have this guy who committed a homicide against his family members. He went right in front of Nick Fuentes' house to try to kill him. And Elon Musk, if you want to make the platform so safe and, you know, you want to make sure that everybody is comfortable, why not you do us a favor by taking down Nick Fuentes' location? But it's too late now because his location is already public. And you and your people are responsible for letting the location of his house to be spread all over social media. And you know what, Elon Musk? You are controlled opposition. You are part of the deep state. Same with you, Milo Yiannopoulos, who pretty much got exposed by Nick Fuentes for cooperating with the feds. Not only you are a fed, but you are also a homosexual, Elon Musk. If anything, you were an overt homosexual before you got involved in Nick Fuentes, and now all of a sudden, ever since he kicked you out of his movement, now you want to accuse him of, you know, being a homosexual and all that because your ego got broken. Seems like that's a normal reaction for homosexuals like yourself. Huh? Anyways, that's going to do it for this video. I feel like I stretched this video for too long, and I might make a part 2 of this video because I know I'm missing some details here and there, but also I feel like this whole drama might continue. I mean, we'll see. But anyway, so if you guys want more videos like this, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and see y'all later.